Well, Michael, congratulations on the movie. I just got to see it and it was so, so good, especially your character. I feel like he was really an unexpected core of the movie and a lot of lessons
Mm.
wrapped up in him. But the first thing I want to ask you is what do you think is the beauty in how this story presented grief, but then also finding your identity after such a big loss?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the movie does something really interesting with grief which is you don't necessarily understand why pool hopping is the device being used in the film till the final act.
Yeah.
When I'm in the water with Odessa and she makes that comment about that item, I don't want to give anything away. And I think that's such
You can
a
you can talk spoilers. I'm gonna hold it till after release. So you can talk spoilers.
okay.
Yep, I
Cool,
got you.
cool, cool. The watch, right? So that and why that's so significant to her and why the pools are so significant to her. I think that is a direct representation of how we carry grief in our lives, So much of us, so many of us are having fun or masking what we're going through. And we may not understand a person's actions, but you start peeling the onion back a little bit and things start making sense with the way people are living their life or what they're going through. Everybody is way more layered than maybe we present as initially. And I think this movie presents as that. And so that is that is the journey of grief. You start here, you're doing all these things to mask it, and at the end of the day, it's always going to catch up with you. And it catches up with us at the end of this movie where we had such a wild, fun ride, but it does have an impactful message towards the end.
And I love how you mentioned the watch because as you were talking, it kind of made me think about how obviously, as you were saying, we handle grief so differently, but stuff such as a small, insignificant thing to someone else has such a significant meaning to someone because it was, her father's watch. But it's like that for anyone going through grief, something tied to a small object, and a person looking on it is not going to realize the significance of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it takes Odessa's character, Kennedy. It literally, I'm not saying that my character is the reason she chooses finally to drop out of school and all that. I'm not going to give him all that credit, but sometimes it takes a complete stranger, like he says in the movie, right, to let her know how talented she is. I don't owe her anything. I don't need to say she's good, bad, whatever. I'm not bullshitting with her. I'm letting her know that I was robbing a house and your voice made me stop robbing the house, and that means something.
Definitely. And your character has a great quote basically saying, you're so worried about the future that you don't even realize it's already happening. How do
That's
you
right.
personally, it was such a good quote. I literally stopped the movie to write it down, but how do you
Yeah.
personally keep yourself focused on what you want now instead of worrying about the future, whether that's personally or career-wise?
Yeah, I would say up until 27, I lived my life how Kennedy was is living her life, not necessarily allowing my fears to inhibit what I was going for, but I was so focused on where I was headed instead of living in the now, in the present, that I was missing out on a lot of experiences with friends, loved ones. I was always there for my family, but girlfriends in the past, I was just so work obsessed, so selfish in a way, but it was all rooted in the anxieties of the future. And once I started living in the present, reprioritizing what matters to me in my mind, in my life, Roswell came, all these other movies came, commercials came, so many jobs came. And every time I've decided to just face today as today and not about tomorrow, I've been rewarded. And so it was a very organic, kind of seamless transition to get into this character's mindset because I had figured that out a few years prior to shooting this movie. And I've been trying to actively live that every day. Of course, we're always going to get caught up. We always want more. We're so
Especially
hard.
in
I'm
our
very hard
industry.
on myself. Exactly, exactly. And we're very hard on ourselves. And a lot of times artists are like that. If you weren't hard on yourself, maybe we wouldn't be where we are. But it's also about self-love and forgiveness and accepting that today is the day, tomorrow will be a new day. Let's focus on today.
When you're finding a character, because I also loved how your character was talking about, freeing yourself, and that's when you're going to find happiness. How do you free yourself in your portrayal from the pressure you might feel to get a character just right, especially when you're reading a script or when you're getting maybe director's notes or writer's notes? How do you make sure you keep freeing yourself?
Yeah, well, I think I learned something a long time ago. I used to have on my desk written be perfect. I literally wrote "Be perfect" in Sharpie on my desk that I would work at every day. And one day I was like, "What the hell? There is no such thing as perfection. What does this mean?" I crossed it out. I wrote "Be great." And then a little bit more time went on, and I was just like, okay, even this is wrong. And I crossed that out finally and I wrote be you.
So
And that was it. I think that as long as we are being truthful to ourselves, we will always be free. It takes a lot sometimes for people to be themselves and to be that free. But that's our job on camera. And fortunately, I came to terms with that in my real life. So it just kind of it's easier on camera. I also have this weird like sickness, I think, where like I'm addicted to making movies and telling stories. And that started as a young kid getting a video camera in second grade. So I actually feel sometimes I feel most at home when the camera's rolling because when the camera's rolling, there's no time to second guess, right? Like we get off the Zoom, I might sit here and be like, I could have said this, could have said that, whatever. On camera, you don't have time to worry about it. Whatever is happening is being captured right then, right here and now, and you got to be as free and loose as possible. And the more pressure, honestly, the better. I love having as many eyes as possible on me because it takes me out of myself. And it's like, it's do or die. You're at the free throw line shooting with no time on the clock to win the game, you can't think about it. You just got to get the job done. And that's the beauty of acting. It's just the freedom of you have to do this right now. Don't think about anything else. Just connect with your scene partner, connect with the material, and stay true to yourself.
So well said. And I love how this film shows how important it is to kind of be happy rather than focus on expectations of those around you. Because I feel like, especially
Mm.
as an actor or just in this industry, you're constantly having those comments and you're thinking, okay, did I do this right? Or, everything like that. Why do you think it was so important for your character in particular to be the one to kind of deliver that message, not only to Kennedy, but to audiences?
Well, I think that's the beauty of how complex human beings are. The last person that maybe you would think would inspire this girl is a down and out AC mechanic who's older than her and gearing up to rob a house, right? Like we look at people and be so easy to see on paper all the things my character does in the movie and label him as such, right? But he's his own complex human going through the trials and tribulations of existing in this world. But he still has something to offer and something to say, just like all of the characters in the movie do. Every character has more depth than what they present at first, right? Everyone's got more going on. And so I think that's kind of I think that's what it comes down to. The movie is more complex than it seems, as this like fun, wacky ride that gets started, as are the characters, as is the journey of life. And so it all kind of works in tandem together.
Definitely. And at the end, we see that Michael is running his own air and repair business, which just made me smile so much. I was so happy to see that. What was your favorite part about making sure he got that ending?
Oh man, at the end of the day, whatever is on the page is what I'm going to do my best in honoring, right? So I always knew that it was heading that way. So it was important to me that this character was full of passion, and we portrayed that in funny ways, right? Where he's riding the machine or blowing the wrench, right, cleaning it off, almost in a sensual, very comedic way. But this guy loves what he does, and that's exactly what's reflected at the end of the movie. He has his own company now, but what is he still doing? He's going to the bar and he's getting a beer after work. I mean, this dude loves that. He loves working with his hands. He loves ripping cigs. All of this is portrayed in that monologue. But having a monologue like that really lets you understand who a character is. So throughout the movie, when he's in his car, he's got music going, he's jamming. When he's going to repair someone's unit, he's having a great time with whoever he's hanging out with, right? Like he's trying not to take things too serious. He's living in the moment. And a lot of that was reflected in the monologue at the end, which set me up for the earlier parts of the movie. And we didn't shoot those ending bits. I think we shot like 14 pages of that pool stuff in one day, one long night. And but I had all movie to kind of gear up for that point and find that character up until that monologue.
Michael, I appreciate you so much. I am always cheering you on, and I am just so thrilled to see this for you. Until the next time.
I hope it's soon. You know what? It'll be
Well, I
soon for
hope it's,
crossword.
yeah,
We'll do it soon for crossword.
I'm going to be there, so don't forget about me. I will be waiting
I
and
could
so
never. I was excited. Once I saw your name, I was excited. It's been too long. I'm ready. I'm ready. I have a lot of projects right now, which is
Yeah.
interesting. This has been I have so many friends who have been having a tough year, and I think a lot of people are having tough years. And for whatever reason, this year has just been a blessing for me. So a lot more projects coming out on the creative side and on, in front of the camera. So I think we'll have a lot to talk about soon.
I'll be there for every single one. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
Sophia. Thank you.
See you at the
Thank you.
next
Good
one.
seeing you.
Good
Yeah, take
seeing you.
care.